Good evening, folks. Say, good evening, folks. It's your bro. It's your bro. It's your bro. It's your bro. Richie here. Um, sorry, I'm repeating. It's just I'm getting a bit too tired right now. So, tonight in this video, I'm back with another motor explanation video for y'all. Tonight in this video, I'll be talking. So tonight in this video, I'll be talking to y'all about. So tonight in this video, I'll be talking to y'all about the final, the final, the final, big American V8 motor. So tonight. Tonight in this video, I'll be talking to y'all about the mighty Chrysler HEMI motor. That's right. I'm finally doing a HEMI, a big HEMI V8. So that's gonna be pretty cool. So yeah. Before I start, make sure you guys excuse me. Make sure you guys all like the video, subscribe. So like the video. Like the video, subscribe, comment down below what you guys think. Hit the notification bell, and hit the notification bell, and hit all so you when we make pretty uploads. All right. So without any further ado, let's begin. So the Chrysler HEMI motor. Here we go. So the Chrysler HEMI, known by the trademark HEMI, so lowercase or uppercase letters, either says normal or big capital letters in HEMI. is a series of high performance American 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 is a series of high performance it's a series of high performance American OHV, so of high performance American OHV or overhead valve V8 motors. So V8 motors built by Chrysler with hemispherical combustion chambers. Three generations have been produced. So three generations have been produced. The firepower series with displacements from 241 to 382, that's 3.9 to 6.4 liters, from 1951 until 1958. So between like the early to late 50s, it was a 7 liter 426 race and street motor from 1964 through 1971. So from the like early mid 60s, so from like the mid 60s to early 70s, and family of advanced advanced HEMIs advanced HEMIs displacing between 5.7 5.7 to 6.4 liters, 348 to 391 cubic cubic inches since 2003. Although Chrysler is more identified with HEMI as a marketing term, many other auto many other car manu- many other car manufacturers have excuse me, have incorporated hemispherical cylinder head designs. During both the 70s and 80s, Chrysler also applied the term the term Chrysler also applied the term HEMI. So Chrysler also applied the term HEMI to their Australian-made HEMI 6 to their Australian-made HEMI 6 motor, so 6 cylinders, and a 4-cylinder, so inline 4 Mitsubishi 2.6, so inline 4 Mitsubishi 2.6 liter motor installed in various North American market cars or vehicles, whatever you want to call it. Next up is design. But before I do that, I just gotta put this on charge, and I gotta get a drink because I am thirsty. And yeah, I can barely walk actually. So my leg is not. So I didn't bend my leg at all, so I'm fine. It's just I felt like today I felt like legit pure pain. Ow, on my foot, and then while I was running, immediately felt pain, and it was just God, it was terrible. Ow. So apologize if I'm gonna be like a bit slow. It's just whoa. Because I'm walking a little bit crooked, but I'll be fine. Alright, gonna put this on charge and yes, charging. Thank God for that, because it hasn't been charging for like hasn't been charging well for the past couple of days. So so I'll be back in about just I'll tell you about just gonna get a drink. I'll be back. That's hot. How far are you? Alright guys, I'm back. Sorry it took a little while. It's because I had to take medicine because I kept coughing a lot. So I'm trying to get rid of as much as I can. But I'm back, so let's do it. So, moving on. So, next part of mine is design. So, let's do it. So, the main advantage of the main advantage of a hemispherical head hemispherical head motor over other head design over the main advantage of a hemispherical the main advantage of a hemispherical head motor over other head designs is power. So is the main advantage of a head the main advantage of a hemispherical head motor over other head designs. So the main advantage of a hemispherical head motor over other head designs is power. On the other hand, Hemi head motors tend to have complex valve trains, which are expensive to build, and are both larger and heavier than conventional designs. A hemispherical combustion chambers, or HCC for short. So a HCC is efficient. So it's efficient. With an ex with an excellent surface with an excellent surface to volume ratio. With minimal heat loss to the cylinder head, and room for two large valves. However, it allows it allows no more than two valves per cylinder. So however, it allows no more than two valves than two valves per cylinder. Because of their large size, and they're necessarily wait. So however, it allows no more than two valves per cylinder because of their however, it allows no more than two valves per cylinder because of their large size, and they're necessarily heavier than those in a multi-valve engine. So heavier than those in a multi-valve motor. So multi-valve motor. Both the intake and exhaust valves lie on the opposite lie on opposite side. So both the intake and exhaust valves lie on the opposite sides of the chamber and necessitate a cross-flow head design. Because the combustion chamber is a partial because the combustion chamber is a because the combustion chamber is a partial because the take a deep breath. Breathe out. There we go. Because the combustion chamber is a partial hemisphere. So because the combustion chamber is a partial hemisphere, a flat-topped piston would yield a low compression low compression ratio. Unless a very long stroke's used. The piston crowns domed to protrude into the head at top dead center. So at TDC to attain the desired compression ratio. So to attain the desired compression ratio, the results a combustion cha- the results a combustion chamber um in the shape of a in the shape in the shape of the space in the shape of the space between where the domed piston stops and where the dome shape and the head receiving it. The Hemi head design the Hemi head the Hemi head design places the spark plug places the spark plug either at or near either at or near either at or near um the combustion or the chamber's center to promote a strong strong flame front. However, however, if the Hemi head hemispheres of equal diameter to the piston, there is minimal squish for proper turbulence to mix both fuel and air thoroughly. Thus, Hemi head, thus Hemi heads, because of their lack of, thus Hemi heads, because of their lack of squish, are more sensitive to fuel octane rating. So are more sensitive to fuel octane rating. A given compression ratio will require a higher octane rating to avoid detonation. So to avoid detonation in a Hemi motor, than in some conventional designs, such as both the wedge. So such as the wedge, pretty much, and size probably. Anyways, the Hemi head always has both intake and exhaust valves. Intake and exhaust valves. So intake and exhaust valve stems. So intake and exhaust valve stems that point in different directions, requiring a large, wide cylinder head. Both that and complex rocker arm geometry in both cam and block. Cam and block, CIV, and single overhead cam SOHC motors. So SOHC motors, dual overhead cam motors may not have rocker arms. this adds to the over this adds to the overall width of the motor. So this adds to the overall width of the motor, limiting the cars in which it can be installed. Significant changes in the commercialization commercial commercializa- commercial commercialize commercialization of commercialization of motor designs using hemispherical chambers revolved around the valve actuation, specifically how to make it effective, efficient, and reliable at an acceptable cost. So I like so I like so I like an a reasonable price. This complexity was refunded. Not refunded. Sorry. This complexity is refunded. This complexity is referenced early in This complexity was referenced. So this complexity was referenced early in Chrysler's development of their 1950s HEMI motor, of their 50s HEMI motor. The hits referred to in company advertising as the DRS, so double rocker shaft head. Not as in DRS for like F1 and whatnot. That's got nothing to do with it. All right, next is the Gen 1 motor known as the Firepower from 1951 to 1950 1951 to 1958. So during the early to late 50s it was. But before I do that, I just gotta get a drink. Yeah, can't walk far from it. Probably fine. This is gonna be bad. Oh, not so bad. Alright. Alright, I'm back. So, next. There we go. Next is the Gen 1 motor, known as known as the firepower from 1951 to 1951 to 1951 to 1958. Overviews first, so let's do it. So, manufacturer is obviously by Chrysler. It's also called a HEMI. It's also called a HEMI motor. Production was from 51 to 63. So 1951 to 1951 to 1963. Layout. So layout is next. Configuration was a naturally aspirated V8. Displacement was a 6.4 liter 390 motor. Pretty good. Cylinder bore was 102.9, well 103 millimeters if you round up. 4 point 4.05 inches. So 4.05 inches. Piston stroke was 96.1 96.1 millimeters. So 96.1 millimeters. So 96.1 millimeters. 3.785 inches. For the materials, the cylinder block or motor block was made of cast iron, and the cylinder head was made of aluminum, and also cast iron as well. Valve train was an overhead valve, two valves, overhead valve, two valves per cylinder. Not too bad. Compression, not too bad. So overhead valve, two valves per cylinder. Compression ratio was 10.5 to 1. So 10.5 to 1. 10.5 to 1. Next is combustion. For the fuel system, so next up is combustion. The fuel system was a 2x4 barrel. So 2x4 barrel. Carter AFB carburetor. Fuels say Carter AFB carburetor. Uh, fuel tap fuel tap was gasoline. For the oil system was both a wet and dry sump. So wet and dry sump cooling. So wet and dry sump cooling system was liquid cooled instead of the usual air cooled, but it's liquid cooled. Next is output power. For the gross is the least amount, and the net is the most amount. Around 320 to 350 horsepower. Specific power was around 61 horsepower per liter. Well, it says 60.9, but it's right up to 61. So 61 horsepower. So 61 horsepower per liter. 61 horsepower per liter. So that's pretty good. Torque output was 490 pound feet. 664 newton meters. If you want to add an extra two more, you get 666, which is the devil's number, which is true actually. 666 or 666 is the devil's number. I'm not 100% too sure why, but apparently it's known as the devil's number. Dimension dimensions is next. Not much on there, just a dry weight. It's without the fluids. It weighs in at 650 pounds, which is, if you want the proper term, 295 kilos. Less than 300 kilos, technically. Chronology is next, and predecessor was the 426 wedge motor. Anyways, moving on. So moving on to the Gen 1. So, how much percent I got? 11%. I was taking off for a little bit. Alright, so here we go. Before that, just gotta my jump rope because it's warm in here. Ow. Took my jumper off and the zipper just caught my head and it just, ow, hell. I'm alright. I'm okay. Anyways, so, moving on, so let's continue on with the Gen 1 firepower from 51 to 58. So, Chrysler developed its first experimental HEMI motor for the Republic P-47 Thunderbolt fighter aircraft. the X the XIV 2220 was an inverted OHV, so overhead valve V, inverted OHV overhead valve V16 motor rated at 2,500 horsepower. That's 1,000 more than the Bugatti Chiron. So 2,500 horsepower. Pretty good. The P-47's already in production. The P-47's already in production with the P-47's already in production with a Pratt and Whitney radial engine when with a Pratt and Whitney radial motor when the XIV 2220 flew successfully in trials in 1945, the year the Second World War ended, as a possible upgrade, but as a possible upgrade, but the war was winding down, and it did not go into production. However, the exercise gave Chrysler engineers engineers both valuable research and development experience with two valve hemi combustion chamber dynamics dynamics and parameters. In addition to the aircraft motor, both Chrysler and CMC Continental Motors Company, so Continental Motors Company worked together, worked together, worked together, so worked together to develop, so worked together to develop, so worked to the worked together to develop the air-cooled AV 1790 5B V12 Hemi V12 V12 Hemi motor. So Hemi motor used used in the M40 M47 M40 M47 Patton tank. I can't pronounce the word correctly, but it's spelled Patton. I think I said it right. Patton, I think it was tank. Chrysler applied their military experience. So their military experience with a hemispherical Chrysler applied their military experience their military experience with the hemispherical combustion chamber to its so with the hemispherical combustion chamber to its first automobile motor, an overhead valve V8 released under the name Firepower, not HEMI, so not HEMI. In 1950, for the 1951 model year, the first version of the Firepower motor had a had a displacement of 5.4 5.4 liters and produced 180 horsepower. So yeah, 100 so 100 180 horsepower. Eventually, 75% of the so three of the four, so around 75% of the Chrysler divisions. So 75% of the Chrysler divisions. So 75% of the Chrysler 75% of the 75% of the Chrysler divisions. So 75% of the Chrysler divisions had their own version of the Firepower motor with different displacements and designations. So both different displacements and designations, and having almost no parts in common. So no parts in common. This lack of commonalities due in parts to the three motor versions using different bore spacings. So using different bore spacings. The center to center distance between between adjacent cylinders. Um, Chrysler and Imperial called their versions the Firepower. DeSoto called theirs the Fire Dome. Dodge had a smaller version known as the Red Ram. Only Plymouth didn't have a version, but retained the Dodge uh, polyhead engines. There was no Plymouth HEMI motor um, until the 1964 426. Ow! Ow! Until the 1964 uh, 426. Yeah, my foot hurts so much I can barely walk. Yeah. So yeah, until the 1964. So yeah, until the excuse me. So yeah, until the 1964. Oh, excuse me. Until the 1964 um 426 Briggs Cunningham used the Chrysler version in some of his race cars for international motorsports. Chrysler powered Cunningham C5R won its class in 1953. He switched away uh he switched away from these designs in 1959 when Chrysler temporarily abandoned uh, the hemispherical concept in favor of the wedge head um, B motor um, until 1964. For those who don't know who Briggs Cunningham was, his full name was Briggs Swift Cunningham II, born January 19th, 1907. 1907. So 1907, born in the city of Cincinnati, uh, Hamilton County, Ohio. So Hamilton County, Ohio. Passed away at age 90. Passed away at age 96. So passed away at age 96 on July 2nd, 2003 in Las Vegas, Clark County, Nevada. Said Nevada. So he passed away at age 96 in Las Vegas from complications of Alzheimer's disease. So Alzheimer's disease. or AD for short, which is a neurodegenerative disease, and is the most common form of dementia, accounting for around 60 to 70% of cases. The most common early symptoms difficulty the most common early symptoms difficulty in remembering recent events. As the disease advances, symptoms can symptoms can symptoms can include problems problems with language, disorientation, including easily getting lost, mood swings, loss of motivation, self loss of motivation, self neglect, and behavioral issues. As the person's condition as the person's condition declines, they often withdraw from both family and society. Gradually gradually bodily functions are lost, ultimately leading to death. Although the speed of progression can vary, the average life expectancy following following diagnosis is from 3 3 to 12 years. So around 3 to 12 years technically. Ow. I'm gonna try not to do that. I'm gonna try not to do that. Oh, God, I'm sorry about that. I'm just so tired right now. So there was no Plymouth HEMI motor until the 1964 426. American entrepreneur and sportsman Briggs Cunningham, full name was Briggs Swift Cunningham II, born January 19th, 1907 in Cincinnati, uh, in Cincinnati, in the city of Cincinnati, Hamilton County, Ohio, passed away in Las Vegas, Clark County, Nevada, age 96 on July 2nd, 2003. So he passed away at age 96 from complications of Alzheimer's disease. He was apparently survived by former wife Lucy Bedford Warren and their three kids: Briggs Swift Cunningham III, Lucy McKinney, wife of U.S. Representative Stuart McKinney, who's a politician, and Scythlin. Can't pronounce the name correctly. It's spelled. I can't really pronounce it that well, but it's spelled C-Y. So it's spelled C-Y-T-H-L-E-N. Maddock. Last name was spelled. Last name spelled Maddock. He's also survived by his second wife, Laura Kramer Cunningham. Laura Laura Kramer Cunningham, and two stepsons. His grandkids include include former Connecticut state Senate minority leader John P. McKinney. I don't know what the P stands for. I think it's Philip. I'm not 100% sure. Oh well, I don't know. so, so yeah, so where was I? Where was I? All right, so yeah. Excuse me. So there's no Plymouth Hemi motor until the 19 and so there's no Plymouth Hemi motor until the 1964 426. There's no Plymouth Hemi motor. So there's no Plymouth Hemi motor um until the 1964 426. Briggs Cunningham used the cylinder not cylinder used the Chrysler version in some of his race cars for international motorsports. A Chrysler powered Cunningham C5R won its class in 1953 during the early 50s, close to like the mid like almost like early mid 50s technically. Cunningham, so he switched away from these designs in 1959, the end of the 50s before the start of the very early. So the end of the 50s before the start of the very early 1960s. Um, so a Chrysler powered Cunningham C5R won its class in 1953. Cunningham, so he switched away from these designs in 1959. So he switched away from these designs in 1959. Um, when when Chrysler temporarily abandoned the hemispherical concept in favor of the wedge head B motor until 1964. Carl, I can't really pronounce the name correctly. Carl Giek Heifer, can't really pronounce it. Also used the Chrysler motors. Also used the Chrysler motors in his NASCAR cars from 1955 and 56, winning the Grand National Series championship. Winning the Grand National Series championship both years. Collectively, the collectively the 5158. So the 1951-58 Hemi motors are now common. So Hemi motors are now commonly retroactively refund. So commonly r- commonly rec- commonly retroactively referred to as Gen 1 Hemi motors, which can be identified um by by the rear mounted distributor, both the rear mounted distributor and the spark plugs in a row. Excuse me, down the center of wide down the center of wide valve covers. That Alright, so the next one we got is the 1951 Plymouth Hemi V6. Um, there are plans in 19 there are plans in the there are plans in 1951 for a Plymouth DOHC Hemi V6 displacing 3.9 liters, 235 cubic inches, designed by both designed by both Chrysler's power plant research power so Chrysler's power plant research and Chrysler's power plant research and engine design division. Yeah. And not only am I drinking water, but also drinking Fanta. This is orange, zero sugar. Yeah, the design is a little bit different, but oh well. Five Nights at Freddy's bullshit. See, I'm not a fan of FNAF. For those who don't know what FNAF means, it means Five Nights at Freddy's, which I'm never a fan of. Just find it kind of dull and boring, pretty much. Anyway, so moving on. Anyways, back to the 1951 Plymouth HEMI V6. There are plans in 1951 for a Plymouth DOHC HEMI V6, displacing 3.9 liters. That's 235 cubic inches, designed by both Chryslers power 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 plant research and engine design division, known internally as A173. It's meant to be a powerful fuel efficient um powerful fuel efficient alternative to Ford's V8, and to replace Plymouth's venerable flathead 6, which is a scientific name for like an inline six technically. However, the plans were scrapped. However, the plans were unfortunately scrapped because of both high build costs and the then usual design. All right, next is both Chrysler and Imperial. All all Chrysler firepower motors are oversquare. So are oversquare, i.e. their bores larger than their stroke. Next is the 331, which I think I'm gonna leave it there for tonight because I'm getting tired right now. So for my next continued Chrysler HEMI motor video will be about the next one, which is a 331 motor. I was just a little bit there, but I'm just too tired to even carry on. But I'll try to do my next one tomorrow as much as I can as possible. Alright, so that'll be it for tonight. So if you guys like this video, like, subscribe, comment down below what you guys think. Hit that notification bell, and hit all so you literally don't make hit all so you literally of when I make brainy uploads. Alright, I gotta go. I'm getting tired right now. I'll see you guys in the next video. But until then, stay safe, have a great evening, and have a great day tomorrow morning. I'm getting sleepy right now, my god. So, but until then, stay safe, have a great evening, and also have a great day, in fact. Which is it's now 12:11 a.m. in the morning. Oh my god. Unbelievable. So, but until then, stay safe, have a great morning. So have a great morning, and have a great day tomorrow morning. And I'll see you guys in the next video. So yeah, take care folks. Take care folks. Stay safe out there. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye bye. So good night folks.